You're on ABC Local Radio. Stacey Catter with you. And, I'll be back in a moment.
On ABC Local Radio, this is Stacey Catter.
Yes, it is. Look, putting Christmas lights on your house has become quite the thing to do in the last few years, but in Brisbane, one street has decided to buck the trend and do their own thing. If you were to drive down Stanley Terrace in Taringa, you'd notice big, fat, red bows tied on gates, around trees and on the front of houses. And Doug Disher is the man behind these bows. Doug, good morning. Merry Christmas.
Stacey, good morning. Merry Christmas to you and your listeners.
How did you get this idea for the bows?
I actually saw it in a neighbouring suburb a few years ago, and no one else was doing it. So we decided to put our bows up about 3 or 4 years ago. And this year, a few neighbours asked us about them, where to get them, and so on and so forth. So we did a bit of a letterbox drop to everyone in the street, and almost overnight, the whole street came on board, and it just looks sensational now.
And it did. It started out just as your house.
That's right.
How did you get everybody on board?
Well, we walk every morning, so it's pretty easy just to do a quick letterbox drop with where you buy the material and how long it's got to be and so on and so forth, and that just made it a bit easier for everyone, I guess.
Also, there's specifications. It's not just any old bow.
Look, it doesn't really matter. What we found was, if you want to get technical, a 3-metre length for a smallish tree trunk did the trick. But, you know, if you've got a large tree, you might want to have 4 metres. It sounds a lot, but once you've tied the bow and you've got the tails, it's really, you need every centimetre of it.
And Doug, is there a technique to tying the perfect bow? Because you see different ones at Christmas time, some lovely full ones and some that are a bit, out of shape, a bit droopy. Well, how do you do it?
Well, my wife Sue does it. It's really, but I've watched her, and it's really just like tying up, shoelaces, I guess. You know, you've got 2 little bits on either side, and then the tail's hanging down. But no, it's not hard. It's just, it takes a few minutes, that's all.
How much of the street do you think has joined in with the bows?
Well, there were another couple up this morning when we went on our walk, so they were sort of cutting it a bit fine, I guess. But I'd say probably about, at least half the street. And I think next year we might get a few more now that everyone's seen them.
So is this instead of lights? Have you boycotted Christmas lights here?
Look, I think Christmas lights can become a little bit, neighbours trying to outdo each other. And with the bows, there's really no one-upmanship, so it's a great equaliser. And the other good thing about it, apart from not costing any electricity, is that they're very visible all day, and even at night they can be seen in the car headlights. So they look great all the time.
How much, perhaps, is this a bit of an environmental thing, saving energy and the likes?
Look, I'd love to say that was the sentiment behind it, but no, look, honestly, we just thought they looked great, and, they're not putting Christmas lights down, but some people might see them as starting to become a little bit tacky. But no, look, everyone to their own. We just thought it looked great, and it's just it's a great way of bringing the neighbourhood together. I'll tell you a little story, if you like, about a knock on the door I got just a few days after the note had gone out. A lady said, "Look, where can I get the bows? I've been trying to find them all over Brisbane." And I said, "Well, you don't buy the bows, you just buy the material." And she told me then that her daughter, who was suffering from cancer, had seen our bows in previous years and had asked her mum, could she have one up for when she comes home. I thought that was quite moving.
Oh, that's lovely. So they really do sort of capture the Christmas spirit, I suppose, Doug.
I think so. I think, this time of year brings out the best in most people. And if you can sort of, pardon the pun, tie that in with something like the bows, I think it's just it's a great way of bringing people together.
Have you had many other knocks on the door? It does sound like community spirit really is evolving from this.
Well, we've had a couple of television crews knocking on the door. Yes, but in terms of neighbours, yeah, we've had some great feedback. We've got a phone call from one of the neighbours saying that she thought it was a great idea. And I've noticed they're springing up in surrounding streets as well now, which is terrific. I mean, it'd be fantastic if the whole of Brisbane put the rest of Australia to shame with these bows on their houses.
Oh, yes. Doug Disher is, in fact, from Taringa in Brisbane, and he has had this idea of the entire street where he lives putting up bows instead of lights. Do you have any other community events in your street, Doug?
Well, we occasionally have a Christmas party. We haven't had one this year, but I think every couple of years we had one at our house a few years ago, and one of the others had one. So we're pretty, look, we don't live in each other's pockets, but we all have a lot of time for each other, and there is a great community in the street. It's one of those streets where ownership doesn't change too often, which is sad for me because I'm a real estate agent. But,
oh well.
But I've been here for 22 years, I think, which sort of probably speaks volumes about the neighbourhood.
What are you doing for Christmas today, Doug?
Well, we're heading off. We're having a very late breakfast with some friends, and then we're heading over to family in Kangaroo Point, and just a very, very quiet, well, it won't be, but that's a general idea.
It always starts out like that, doesn't it? And when do the bows come down? Is there a time frame on how long they can be there?
Well, generally, Stacey, I think we take them down around January 6th. I think that's traditionally when you're supposed to take down the Christmas tree, isn't it, and that sort of stuff. So they are pseudo-Christmas trees in a way, I guess, when you think about it.
They are. They're lovely. And it's been really lovely to talk to you this morning as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, Doug, and keep those bows flowing along. They look great.
Will do. Thanks, Stacey. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Doug Disher, he's from Taringa in Brisbane, where bows have taken over from Christmas lights. It's 20 to 12, ABC Local Radio.